Next up, let's give a warm welcome to Ingram Micro's SVP of Global Platform Operations, Jim Ans.
Thank you, and I know I speak for all the associates at Ingram Micro that we're so grateful to be here with you yesterday and today and to share your experiences and your stories, and we thank you for choosing to spend the time with us. We're going to switch gears a little bit for the next about 20, 25 minutes. We're going to go to operations. We've heard about the trends that are happening. You just heard about AI. We had the analyst talk about it as well yesterday. All the other technology trends that are happening that you all are looking to address with your customers. But at the same time, how do you optimize your business? How do you find new opportunities? So we've taken 4 of the topics that you've asked us about in prior engagements with you in events. So application integrations to help drive efficiencies within your businesses, how to reduce the quote-to-cash cycle to get wins faster, how to use insights and recommendations to prioritize the work of your employees and find new opportunities with existing and even net new customers, and then how to utilize automation to free up time to reinvest into enhancing the customer experience and growing the business. So we've got a panel of 4 of your peers from all 4 regions to come up here and share their experiences on these topics and give you their insights into ways you can transform your business starting tomorrow, right, when they resonate with you. So please welcome the panel as I introduce them. From Asia Pacific, Chung Mai Viet, Managing Director of Fuse Technology, Mark Lester, CEO of WWCS, Tom Kirk, President of CNI Sales Inc., and Sergio Fernández, CEO Soluciones MKS. Bring them out, hey. Bring them out, yeah. Bring them out, hey. All right. Bring them out. VIP coming live, coming live. Excuse me. All right, well, first, welcome. Thank you for being here with us today. Appreciate you taking the time. Just before we get started, Tom, I just want to say congratulations. Your daughter's getting married on Saturday. Is that correct?
My daughter's getting married on Saturday, yeah.
Congratulations. Thank you for making the time to be here with us, and it's a lot to take care of. So let's start off introducing you all and your businesses to the audience. If you wouldn't mind talking a little bit about your company, area of focus, and where you're located, that'd be great. Chung, start with you.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Chung Mai Viet, Managing Director of Fuse Technology, Australian-based MSP, but operations in Canada, UK, and also Vietnam. We're SMB-focused, financial services, professional services, a real focused on managed security in that space as well.
Excellent. Mark?
Hey, everyone. Mark Lester, CEO of WWCS, based in a small town called London, England, for anyone in the audience. An MSP, won't surprise you. My father started our business in 1983, one of the first IT businesses really to be established in London. A small to medium-sized business MSP with about probably 160 clients, as I say. Very much moving into the cyber focus rather than IT support piece.
Tom?
Hey everyone, Tom Kirk from CNI Sales, headquartered in Philadelphia. We, next month, will be celebrating our 31st year in business. We started in December of 1994. We still focus a lot on network infrastructure, network security, professional services. But I think the one thing that we want to stress about what we do is we still focus on customer relationships, relationship selling. It never can really lose focus of what we're all about. And you can do transactional selling, you can sell stuff, but you know, truly we focus on the relationship selling. And I know this is an Ingram event, you know, and I'm not saying this because it's an Ingram event, but for 31 years, Ingram has been our partner and a very strategic partner. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank all of the Ingram folks in the audience for helping us grow, helping us succeed for 31 years. We truly could not have done it without you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sergio. We're primarily located in Monterrey, Mexico. So, un aplauso a los latinos que nos acompañan hoy. Se vea la vibra latina. Well, we focus in cloud, modern work, and cybersecurity. We are specialized in Microsoft 365 and Azure services. And one of our strengths is that we offer a full professional service portfolio around the brand. And well, we started our journey being partners of Ingram Micro 7 years ago. I used to work in Ingram for 5 years, I think. And now I'm here.
Excellent. Well, let's talk a little bit about, Paul touched on being a trusted advisor. There's a lot that goes with that, right? So not only staying on top of new technologies, leading your workforce, identifying opportunities, but at the same time, you're all focused on optimizing your business, right? Finding ways to drive efficiencies and effectiveness with the group. And you all have stories from integrations to using insights and recommendations. So we'll kind of jump in on some of those topics. I want to start with integrations. And Chung, maybe start with you on this one. Seamless integrations is a term that is thrown around a lot, right? Everyone's offering seamless integrations, yet partners struggle at times figuring out where to start, where's the value, and then how to make them a reality. So maybe you could start us off with why are integrations important to your business and what problems are you primarily looking to use them for to solve?
I think for us, integrations are the thing that I look for most. We run businesses. And as you know, in a small, medium business, it's all about sale to cash, collecting the cash. And so integrations for us are the lifeblood of how we get paid and how we pay our staff. So one of the things that we love about the Xvantage platform is we use Kaseya as our kind of PSA platform, that billing integration straight out of the box. We stood up our Canadian business in July last year, and within 2 weeks of standing it up, we already had Xvantage in the US connected into our single platform. We were able to cut bills day one. And that's what we do with our customers as well. We really look at their business and say, well, how does your business survive? How do you make money? And how can we help you with your platforms to make money? And that's ultimately what we have to do, right? Like, as much as we love the work that we do, the tech and all those sorts of things, if you can't collect the cash, you've got no business. So that's super important for integrations.
For sure. It's the what and the why now. When you talk about the how did you get started? Because you had to make some decisions or give guidance to the team. Where was the starting point for you when it came to integration?
Yeah, I think the biggest decision we make these days is who has things out of the box where we don't have to build or we don't have to, twist things a million ways, put things in the middle to hook them all together. That's like, for us, it's what can you do out of the box? And so when we talk to our customers and look at ourselves is, how do we make our lives less complex? How do we just choose things that can work day one? That's why the Xvantage platform is great. Like, I saw some of the new AI integrations. It looks like it's pretty simple, out of the box. A couple of configurations, you're up and running. So that's the how. It's like, keep it simple. Anyone can do it. As long as you understand the processes, you can just turn it on.
And was that the starting point for any of the rest of you, is just start at the simplest entry point and work your way forward, or how did you approach it?
From my point of view, it's about efficiency. All about efficiency. The more time that our staff can spend working on relationships with our clients, the better. So it's about reducing what I'm calling the copy and paste. Okay? Copy and paste is very much done and dusted as far as I'm concerned. So the automation, which reduces any kind of error and risk around that, but also instead of taking an hour to do something, might take half an hour, which really the focus is around speaking with the clients, relationships with the clients, and increasing that kind of bond with the clients. It's not about reducing the workforce, because we can find efficiencies. It's about spending more time with the clients and working a better relationship.
I think that's a great topic to dig into, because top priority for, I think, everyone in the audience is how do you create those efficiencies, right, and be more effective. And like you said, it's not about removing people from work. It's about removing the work that none of our people should be doing.
Absolutely. That's
Right?
what it's about.
Eliminating the copy and
The
paste.
admin.
So Mark, I'm going to throw the question at you first. Your company has been in business since the founded in the early 80s, correct? You've probably seen a few of these cycles of people saying we're going to drive efficiencies, and you've seen it happen a few times over the years. What do efficiencies mean for you now, and how is that different than it was even 5 years ago?
So it's about automation really for me in my head around this piece. So we use Halo as a ticketing and invoicing tool, et cetera, et cetera. And the connection with Xvantage ticks the efficiency box. It means that we can create an invoice or a proposal in Halo, and it takes the data from Xvantage and it moves it in. We're reducing the having to log in to another solution, to go to the third solution, to track the parcel to see where it is. It's a single pane of glass. So we're reducing the number of steps that it takes from here to here, and simplifying things. There is an issue when you have an overly complex model because it causes failure. So as streamlined as possible allows the operation to grow. We're very much at the beginning of a next. You spoke about the fact we've been around since the 80s. I'm happy to say we've now got thin screens and their color.
Congratulations.
Rather than just the green ones. But our next growth journey starts our 5-year progress today. And it's really about setting up the infrastructure that will allow us to grow rather than in 6 months' time having to reinvent something else or fix another problem. So it's about the foundations now, moving forward.
So with that freed up time, and Tom, maybe you could kick us off, where should people be looking to reinvest that freed up time? How do you drive a better customer experience? How do you find pockets of growth? Where does that start?
Yeah, I think, for me, we can never forget what we're all about, and that is, how do we drive sales? How do we do things the right way within our company? I'm older, I guess, in our industry, and I will tell you, I push back on change just because that's my nature. But as a business owner, I can't do that. I have to rely on other people within an organization telling me this is what we need to do. You need to put your pride, your ego aside and just say, all right, I don't like change, but what's best for our company? Over the past couple of years, we also introduced a new ERP system. So going from what we used to do to something new, I absolutely bought off on it, and it has, thank God I didn't push back so much that we didn't do it because it has reinvented our business. You now put on top of that Xvantage, and again, what has it done for us? I'll give you an example of how we have used time to our advantage using Xvantage. We're from Philadelphia, we're on the East Coast. We have a manufacturer who has an inside sales group that works out of the Bay Area. A couple of our guys, sales guys, they wanted to go out there and meet with their inside sales group. And I will say and share with you, there aren't a whole lot of inside sales groups that get visited by outside sales groups from across the country. Again, getting back to relationship selling, a couple of our guys went out there, had a great meeting with the inside sales group, at the manufacturer. But then during their meeting, our guys demonstrated to that inside sales group the power of Xvantage. On top of that, they showed how Xvantage worked and coordinated with our ERP system. It took 30 minutes. They came back, from that trip, and they were so excited about the relationship that they had built, in this couple of days. The value that they brought to that value-added reseller, and the opportunities that are afforded to us now by taking that time to travel cross-country to meet with an inside sales group. It's a pretty powerful message on integration, automation, and how that can drive sales that otherwise I don't know that we would have had that same success.
That's a great point. So, Sergio, as a top Microsoft solutions provider, speed is an expectation with your clients. So how are you focusing on speed and driving automation efficiencies in your business to bring value to your customers?
Yeah, well, we integrated a cloud marketplace that is connected to Xvantage. This platform helped my customer has access to these platforms, and they can add license or services at any time because it's available 24/7, 365. And we gain time. So as you said, we can be close to our customer, know their needs, their necessities, and see what their needs in terms of productivity, security, and business continuity. These allow us to bundle our professional services so we can deliver it fast and the customer perceives it like more with value. So with this cloud marketplace connected to Xvantage, we were able to do this.
So we talked about freeing up time, gaining efficiencies, using integrations. Another topic is insights, how to get business insights, not only on your own business, but then where are the opportunities within your book of business with existing clients or looking for new clients. So where are you going first and foremost? Where are you finding these insights? Where should people search for them within their own data or other places? And then where are you putting them into action to drive outcomes?
Yeah, well, from our perspective, the data and the insights is all about cross-selling all of our products, right? And making sure that, simple things like Windows 11 upgrade, like that was a classic one recently where we just used the data we have. We can see all the machines in our fleet that were still Windows 10. We could see what was in and out of warranty from Xvantage and all the integrations that we have into our tools. Simple things like that can make a huge difference. And then kind of looking at our CSP revenue, like who's buying business premium, who's buying business standard, being able to run simple reports across all of our clients to see, what's available and who's not doing what. So one of those things that I really drive within our business is, the data is key. How do we use that data? The great thing is all the platforms now all talk to each other. We have one single pane of glass from a reporting and BI perspective that just allows us to dive into it all. And I think as we're starting to play with AI, we're finding, well, when I have a random query, I used to ask one of my team, hey, can you find this data for me? Now I can just literally type it into a chat tool, ask the question, and it will come back for me. It's not perfect, but it's a starting point. But if you've ever had a junior salesperson do a query for you, it never comes back
It's
perfect,
not perfect
right?
either, yeah.
So you know what? At least I don't have to hire someone to do that. And I think the other key point is, when we're doing a lot of our customer engagements, the one thing they always say to us is, we want you to help us with our strategy, we want you to help us on our business. If we are spending less time keying in orders, chasing ETAs, it means that we have more time with the customers to do what's important, and that just drives value and engagement.
And I think that's really the point. Having the single pane of glass, everything in one kind of solution or application allows you to really take kind of all of the data to make a business decision. To your point, I think businesses are increasing their spend on IT year on year on year, okay? Whether it's around the cyber stack or whether it's around AI. So as much time as we can spend with our clients fostering that new business, there's a huge opportunity there. It's not just IT support now. It's a huge. We are very invested in our clients. It's not just, call us when you've got an IT problem.
No, they're asking us, how do we help grow our business? How can we use technology?
You feel like you're on their board.
Yep.
Really.
And it's that trusted advisor perspective.
Exactly.
Paul
The relationship.
Yeah.
Relationship. So I'm not going to let anyone off stage without talking about AI, because we've been talking about it quite a bit over this event and getting different perspectives. So maybe just briefly, from all four of you, where do you see the immediate opportunity with AI? From the perspective of how to use it internally within your own businesses, and then where are your clients asking for you to help introduce them to the use of it? So Chung, start with you and we can work down.
Yeah, look, for us, there's two parts of AI I'm seeing. One is the pure personal productivity piece, which, there are great tools out there today that our clients are using and asking for. The simple thing of recording a Teams meeting, taking notes, that's brilliant for so many people. But the main thing is the automation of processes that can be done time and time again. And, we're working with a immigration law firm in Australia, for instance. They have, in Australia, it's a lot about skilled migration. So, we don't have borders with anyone, so you have to come in by plane. But basically, there's this process where you have to look at a resume, align it to the people that the Australian government want in the country, and then you have to go through this process of applying. Being able to cut that process down so that the immigration lawyer is not looking at it, they can kind of use AI, put in a resume, does the alignment, someone reviews it. We're cutting down a process that used to take 2 hours by a legal professional to 15 minutes. So that productivity gain is huge, right? So those are the processes and the tools that we're seeing our customers ask for, things that can really make a difference.
For us, we look after more small business potentially, and it's very scary for them. They know that they need it. They don't know what it is. They know that if they don't have it, their competitive advantage may be lost. So it's a kind of like, we want something, we need it, we don't know what it is. So from our point of view, it's about education. We have a product called AI in a Day. We go and see a client, we take some coders with, the right people from the client around the room, and by the end of the day, we demonstrate a solution. Often opens up bigger opportunity moving forward, but that's the kind of introduction to the kind of AI counseling session, if you like, for our clients to say, this is where you can go. But they're very nervous, and it's trying to find a solution that works for them, that doesn't, that leads them, that doesn't lose them, really.
I think that's the value of yourselves and those in the audience, is how do you make something that's intangible tangible, right? So people can truly understand it. Tom,
we're on this journey as well, right? So
we all are,
going
yeah,
along
absolutely.
as well, so we've got to be hopefully slightly further ahead than our clients.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I would absolutely agree and piggyback on what Mark said of customers know they use it, but they don't necessarily know why. I make it somewhat analogous to when cloud came around. And, we have to be careful of introducing a new way of doing business versus telling them this is where you need to go. We still get pushback from people from cloud, because they want their network on-prem, that they can put their arms around it, because they think of all the bad things. They think about the bad things that out there when your information goes somewhere else. They push back when we tell them you can no longer buy things on a perpetual basis. It has to be subscription. AI does scare them. I scares me a little bit. I have to be really honest with you, because I too sometimes look at the bad part of a technology that was never even thought of versus the benefits of what this technology can do for you. So I think we just have to be careful of telling our customers how they need to run their business. Education is so important,
absolutely right.
And it's important for us, and every manufacturer that we come in, who we represent, AI, just like it was cloud. We're going to get there. Everybody's going to get there, but I think everybody's going to get there at their own pace.
Find balance.
Yeah.
Sergio?
Yeah, well, in our case, I agree with you with all the customers, all the business are different, so it's important you to be more like a consultancy than a reseller. So you are like an advisor for AI. In my case, we suggest to put AI leaders or AI champs in the customer company, so they can be the ambassador for the rest, or sharing the rest for the company. They are the one who knows their business nothing better than them. So I think that's the way, putting AI leaders in a key area of a customer.
It sounds like it's all coming back to helping clients find one place to start.
Yeah.
right? Just get a starting point that everyone can be comfortable with, rather than trying to boil the ocean.
Exactly.
One of the first technologies that we have to educate clients about, moving to Office 365, I think it was an easier education, conversation. But this is a new world. Somebody mentioned the change being the same as the creation of the internet and the change that it will bring to a business. So that's daunting for clients and for us, for what it's worth, but to position ourselves.
For a lot of people, it's a little different as well. Like the internet was not as scary as AI for a lot of people. AI is just because it's this black box, right? Like they don't know what's going to come out of it. They're like, is it going to be manipulated? Whereas with the internet, it was bits. You're moving stuff from one side to another. You've got information in front of you. So I think the challenge I'm seeing today is you've got business owners that know that it needs to happen. You've got staff members that feel like it's a threat. I think people need to realize that, like any new technology, it's not there to replace you, it's there to augment you, it's there to help you. And I think it's got to start from the top. So in our organization, the key leaders of the business are on the cutting edge of AI. Like I'm doing things where my staff are like if I get a question today where I think you could have worked that out yourself, I will literally just put it into an AI tool, copy and paste and send it back. And they're like, you just did that out of AI? And I'm like, yeah, you could have as well. Right? So just things like that where you challenge your team, you challenge your people and say to them, look, it's not scary. How do you get the most out of it? I think that's the challenge.
And to that point, I think it's a journey.
Yeah.
I think you go and do a huge change on day one, it's going to break.
Yeah.
So it's about, working out where that endpoint was and starting very slowly, softly.
Yeah.
So I think it's great feedback of being the example, right, of what you would expect your clients to embrace.
100%.
Right? And I think we've heard that a few times. So we've talked about automation integrations, we've talked about embracing AI, and that's a tremendous amount of change that you've all been driving in your businesses, and I'm sure it's accelerating.
Yep.
So how do you create a culture that embraces change and then has a growth mindset? How to use that change to drive new outcomes? And maybe, Tom, start with you, because you talked about yourself being resistant to change.
Yeah.
So I want to hear how you're, as the chief change resistor, how are you creating this culture?
It's your responsibility. As a business owner, you truly have to look at the big picture. I have learned over time to adjust. And this is a little bit of an example of, I am a couple generations older than a lot of the people in our industry, whether people who work at C&I, it could be our customers. I had a chance we were looking to hire an engineer. And that engineer was a recent college graduate, and he worked as an intern at one of our biggest customers and came highly recommended to us. And there was email, conversation back and forth, and then it got to that I would like him to come in for an interview. And he says, can't we just do a Zoom interview? And I said, well, jokingly said, I'd like to, see you come in to make sure that you're real. And he said, we can't do Zoom. I don't want to come in. So it's a change that I have to make that, to me, he was telling me to go pound sand in my viewpoint. In his viewpoint, he was maybe trying to be more efficient in the way that he had, why do you need me to come in? I'm real. That's a change I have to make rather than just blowing it off and saying, well, I don't want to hire this guy. I didn't hire the guy, but I was somewhat.
But it wasn't for that reason. Just to be clear, it wasn't for that reason.
But I do think that there's compromise that has to happen in not just business owners, but in peers. Just accepting that there are different ways to do things, and I have to put my ego aside a little bit, and maybe some of my set-in ways to change a little bit.
So I think let's finish. I want to hear from all of you on this topic to take us out, because I think everyone struggles with this. I know I do, is how to help our organization, our partner organizations navigate change and do it in a way where everyone feels like they have the opportunity to succeed.
Yep.
right? Not be replaced.
That's
like
right.
you were talking about. So maybe, Sergio, talk about your perspective on driving change mindset, right? And how do you find the right people to help drive that?
Well, as I said before, we look for AI ambassadors, so they can like first using the technology for the daily workloads, and then they can share it to the rest of the team. So when they found that their work is easier or their operation low, they are like the ones who share this technology to. I mean, I don't know how to say, but they like. They share. They are the ambassador of his technology. So
They become the advocates.
the rest of the people just embrace it and see how it is working for the rest of the company.
So like that, creating internal advocacy. Mark, what's your perspective
Culture.
on the growth?
It is the culture. There are a lot of younger people in the business nowadays, and it's about giving them the capacity to play around and to steer the technology within the business, really. Because at the end of the day, the people that, for example, work in your support team are your ambassadors, right? Mm-hmm. So if you empower them to play with the tools, then when they're speaking to clients, they will naturally sell those tools. So it's not just about kind of, right, you're going to do AI and come back and let me know how you get on. It's about the language. It's about giving people space to play around with these things and naturally, grow the technology. I'm with you. I feel far too old to understand certain bits and pieces, but it's about empowering the next generation in the business.
Absolutely. Chunk, take us out.
Yeah, look, I think change is good if it's led properly. So I think one of the things that I've learned over the years is you have to really take people on the journey. You have to explain to them all the time why you're doing things, but you have to enable them to change as well. So, sometimes I get called into an office and, there's a staff member who wants to do something that's just totally not normal to what I know. But I always go, you know what? Why not? Like, what have we got to lose? Like, if we don't let that person change, they're going to leave. So we're going to have a change anyway. So why don't we just take the journey with them? And then on the flip side, for me, I love change. I'm one of those guys that can't do the same thing every day. I can't eat the same meal every day. I want change. So I think that culture helps us as a business, to the detriment of some of my team. They ring me up and say, what are you doing? I'm like, well, let's try something new.
Well, and I think it's a great insight because it sounds like all of you have surrounded yourself with team members that help balance each other.
Yep.
You have different perspectives.
100%,
right?
you have to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I appreciate all of you spending the time up here sharing your perspectives and insights. Please help me thank our panelists for their contributions today.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you all very much.
Thanks.